What is up, guys? It's Rich back with another video for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about some Escape from Tarkov optimization settings. With this patch 13.5, I knew there was a little bit of tweaks and stuff like that people are doing to get the most out of their performance, but hopefully I can sum that all up for you in one video. And hopefully if you do enjoy this and if this does help you out, make sure you drop a like. And if you want to see some future Tarkov videos, and if you do enjoy my content, make sure you drop a sub. That always shows the support on the channel. But even if you just take time out of your day to watch this video, I do appreciate very much. Other than that, let's just get into it. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We're going to go ahead and head over to the... Actually, let's start with the game panel. I'm going to talk about in-game settings, and then I'm also going to talk about some Windows settings that you can change. So in my in-game settings here, we can run through it really quick. Automatic RAM cleaner is turned off because I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. I know a lot of people talk about using your page file size if you feel like your system is blue screening or running out of RAM. I don't do any page filing with my system. Maybe down the line that might be something I turn into, but we'll see. As of right now, my system runs really good with 32 gigabytes of RAM. If you do use 16, I might recommend using automatic RAM cleaner via the in-game option, but there also are options through third parties that do clean up the RAM in your system maybe a little bit better than the in-game one. But if you do have 16, I've heard the automatic RAM cleaner in-game is good now, so I definitely do recommend that. Only use physical cores, make sure that's ticked on. That'll definitely improve your performance. FOV, this is all personal preference here. I use 69. I feel like it's a nice balance in between max FOV and towards the lower side of FOV. So this is a nice camera recoil and camera vertical recoil shake. This is a nice number for me. I do feel like this is a good balance for me. Granted, once again, this is all personal preference. Head bobbing, crank that down. No reason for that to be on high unless you're strange and you like your head to just completely bounce around and not able to get on target. So in my graphics screen, this is probably the most important setting in game. We can talk about a few things here. I'll run through each one. Screen resolution, I do play on 1440p. I feel like the clarity you get from 1440p is really good in comparison to 1080p. Granted, there is a hit on performance playing in 1440p, so if you have a system that cannot handle it, then I believe you should run 1080p. I think you'll be just more satisfied with the more frames. But if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of performance, and or if you have a really strong system, 1440p will be the play for you. Screen mode, play full screen. You'll get the system to be optimized and more focused on the game. Going down the list as well here. So texture quality, in my opinion, this is set on medium for me because it actually does affect your RAM usage. So especially when you're playing a map like Streets of Tarkov, which definitely chunks and eats your RAM, playing on high will utilize about 95% of your RAM on your system. It is weird. If you don't do any of the page file stuff, I would recommend playing on medium. Unless you're only running Tarkov. If you're running any other programs in the background, I definitely recommend running it on medium. Other than that, if you're just running Tarkov, put it on high, you'll get a nice graphic boost, but just keep in mind this does directly correlate with your RAM. Obviously, it does affect performance as well, but I do notice small just jumps in between medium and high. So I keep mine on medium just for the fact that I have all my streaming software open in the background. Shadows low, no reason to have that high. Object LOD quality, so this is the pop-in of major items or major buildings and things like that. I set this at 2. You can definitely go to 2.5. Not a lot there in between of difference if you wanted a little bit better visibility, long distance. Overall visibility, I would keep this in between 1000 and 1500. This does affect your player visibility and or smaller objects. Definitely recommend keeping that at 1000, maybe 1500 when you're playing a map like Lighthouse or Woods. But I find 1000 to be a nice middle ground. Anti-aliasing, as you'll see, is disabled and resampling is off because I use Nvidia DLSS. In the past, Nvidia DLSS have had issues with the scopes, but in the past updates, they have managed to fix that and it looks a lot better now. The performance I get from running DLSS quality is really nice, and the game really looks just about the same to me. I may have been conditioned to it, but I think if you have an Nvidia graphics card, definitely recommend using Nvidia DLSS. Quality, if you have a decent enough rig. Balance, if you really want to squeeze out the most performance. I wouldn't really go any lower than balance though, because then you're just gonna be looking at like a fried game, an absolute just microwaved game. AMD FSR 2.2, I've heard this is really good in this patch, so if you have an AMD graphics card or if you just want to try AMD FSR for your system and see which is better, definitely give that a roll. But I use DLSS. That's my personal. HBAO and SSR, this is kind of just reflections and the quality of in-game. This does affect performance though, but if you do want a really good looking clean game, like reflections on water puddles and windows and stuff like that, you'll want to make sure these are on for you. Anisotropic filtering, I keep that off. Nvidia Reflex low latency. This is a really big one. With this patch, it's bugged. So whenever you play on one map and then you switch to another map, it'll actually cut all your frames in half. And it's tied directly to Reflex low latency. Don't know why. Really weird, but this is the direct correlation with it. So just leave that off as of right now. When they decide to fix that or patch that, I'll drop a comment down below so you guys know you can turn that back on. Sharpness, I leave that at 0.6. Don't need to tweak that too much. Lobby FPS limit cranked up. Game FPS limit cranked up. All these options down here, high quality color, Z blur, chromatic abbreviations, noise, grass shadows, and MIP streaming, leave those off. You are not getting any performance gain with those. If anything, your game is looking uglier and you're losing performance. So that's my graphic settings, guys. That's my in-game stuff that I run. I don't use any post FX, and I also use binaural audio. So those are the things that I have on. That is my in-game stuff. We're gonna go switch over to my Nvidia control panel and some Windows PC settings now. That this will actually give you some additional performance on top of the in-game settings. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is going to be the Nvidia control panel. So in order to get access to your Nvidia control panel, you'll right click anywhere in your desktop, you'll click show more options, and then you'll see Nvidia control panel turned on. This is for Nvidia graphics card users. I don't know if AMD has something like this, but this is strictly for Nvidia. So under Nvidia control panel, you want to go to manage 3D settings on the left hand side here. You're gonna wait for that load. You're gonna want to go to program settings, and you're gonna want to select a program to customize, and you're gonna want to make sure escape from Tarkov.exe is in this. So if you don't see it, you'll click add, and you'll want to make sure you add it onto that list. You'll get a pop-up here. Make sure you set the escape from Tarkov.exe application, not the BSG launcher. I know they have the same picture, just don't make that mistake or else you won't see any of this performance translated in game. So if you want to copy my settings here, this is what I recommend for everybody in terms of their performance. So this will actually give you some additional performance and focus on the game in terms of your Windows and your graphic settings. I'll scroll down through this list really quick. Low latency mode, make sure that's set to ultra. Some of these things you want to turn off or set to auto or just set to in-game options. So power management mode, prefer maximum performance. 2070 Super, that's my graphics card, so just keep that in mind. And vertical sync, you can either turn it off or just use global setting, which is use the 3D application setting. Just make sure it's not set to on, because that would just be adding input latency and limiting your frames in game. So that's my 3D control panel settings. What I want to show you here as well is, if some people are curious, and sometimes they are, this is what I use when I'm playing in game in my Nvidia control panel to help me see a little bit better in terms of clarity. I don't really get a boost when you're looking in dark areas or stuff like that because of the fog in game, but this does tend to add a little bit more clear and more vibrancy to my game. I do tend to tweak this though, but this is what I'm running right now. So that's my Nvidia control panel. We're going to switch over to some Windows settings and some control panel things in Windows that we can talk about. All right, so the last few things I want to talk about here is in Windows settings. What you're going to notice here is I am in Windows settings in the gaming tab. What you'll want to make sure you have turned on here is game mode. Make sure that is optimized and turned on. Or not optimized. Make sure it's turned on because it will optimize your system for playing. In the past, before, a lot of people recommend this to turn this off, but I think this is the best option to have on right now. This is definitely really good. This does really good. It handles well with OBS and other programs, and also making sure my game gets the most performance out of it. All right, last thing I want to talk about here is my power plan. So in my control panel, I'll go to hardware and sound, power options, and you'll see the power plans here. What I have is ultimate performance. Most people by default won't see this option. I will only recommend turning this on, and I will show you how you do that. I will only recommend how you turn this on is if you have a higher end PC. Don't turn this on, just use high performance if you have a mid to low tier PC. But you can also use high performance if you have a high tier PC. I think ultimate performance just gives you that nice added benefit, but it's putting your system to be running at 100% all the time. So just keep that in mind. If you want those added performance boosts, you can definitely run ultimate performance. The way you'll do it is you'll want to go to command prompt, and there's going to be a line of code. So you want to run this as administrator, and then you'll put in the code. I'm going to put it down in the description. You just press enter, it'll run, and it'll pop up in your control panel with this power plan. If you have any questions on that, drop a comment down below and I'll help you out with that. Other than that, guys, that about wraps it up for all of my Escape from Tarkov optimization tweaks and stuff like that, little tips that you might be able to use for patch 13.5, as well as sharing my settings. If you guys have any questions on that or anything like that, once again, drop a comment down below. I'll be able to help you guys out, maybe some of my recommendations and stuff like that. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like. If you feel like it can be helpful to other people, make sure you share it, or if you drop a like on its own, that actually just pushes it out in the algorithm. But if you want to see some future Tarkov content from me, and if you do enjoy my content, make sure you drop a sub, guys. We've got a lot of good stuff coming this week and later, especially some giveaways and stuff like that I'll be talking about in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, thank you for stopping by, guys. Have a great day. Peace.